Hello and welcome to episode 098 of the Bit Beacon Broadcast. It's September 23rd, 2025. You can call me Kodax, and I'll be your host through this week's episode. I got some new purchases in this past week. Two interesting titles. Interesting for maybe reasons that wouldn't be really surface level. But I have Patapon 1 and 2 Replay for Nintendo Switch, and Everybody's Golf Hot Shots for Nintendo Switch. These two games were not released physically here in the States, so I imported the Asia English versions of the games, which are functionally, with full English packaging and everything, but they don't have like an ESRB rating logo on it or anything like that. Both of these games are published by Bandai Namco, and here in the States, these were released digital only. In Europe, I believe these did get a physical release. But what's so interesting about these two games is much like last year's Freedom Wars, which is a Sony intellectual property for PlayStation originally. These two games are also Sony intellectual properties that are then being farmed out to Bandai Namco to essentially create new games or remasters and things like that. So in the case of Patapon 1 and 2 Replay, we have a port/remaster with some enhancements of original PSP games created by Japan Studio, Sony's famous, or infamous maybe, internal studio in Japan that's no longer, is now defunct. And then we have Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, which is a brand new entry in the Everybody's Golf series. I chose to go, before I get there, I should note that this new Everybody's Golf game is not made by the traditional developer of the Everybody's Golf series, Clap Hands. Bandai Namco chose a completely different studio to develop this new entry. People seem to really enjoy this new Everybody's Golf game. They did a pretty good job. There are apparently still some bugs and glitches and things that they're working on fixing and patching. The game did just very recently receive a patch for Nintendo Switch that enables the game to run at 60 frames per second on Nintendo Switch 2, so that's pretty exciting. Out of the two, this is the one I'm probably looking most forward to playing, because I just kind of want like a fun golf game. I don't know what it is. I'm not interested in golf like in real life all that much. I would never sit there and watch it, but I do enjoy playing video game golf. And the Everybody's Golf series has some fun flair to it without a lot of the like crazy gimmicks that like the newer Mario Golf games have gotten into over the years, which just kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say it ruins the experience, but it's like I need something a little arcadey, but I want it to sort of be still golf without devolving into like kind of wacky hijinks and superpower moves and things like that. So the Everybody's Golf series is where I think you find that kind of gameplay at. I gotta say, I really am enjoying that Sony is open to licensing out their IP to Bandai Namco, and maybe there will be some other publishers and developers in the future that'll gain access to sort of these back catalog IP. It gives me hope that one day we could see a new like Ape Escape game or some really nice remasters of those games. Sony doesn't seem interested in doing much with those IPs, so better to let them, another publisher take the risk at funding them and just license the IP out to them. That way there's no risk for you. It's coming from a publisher, developer that's maybe got some background, some pedigree, so you have this hope that it'll be a quality title. But at the same time, you're not really taking that financial risk yourself. Sony's just not interested in small or even really that many mid-sized games anymore. It's got to be big or don't bother. So this is the best solution in this case, rather than letting those IPs just languish and never ever get used. Something else arrived in the mail this past week, and it's the newest edition of Game Informer magazine, issue 371. On the beautiful glossy cover here, we have the protagonist of the new Ninja Gaiden game, and that's Ninja Gaiden 4. And I don't know this protagonist's name off the top of my head, but I know that he is a new character. He's the main character of the game, Ryo Hayabusa. Will also appear in the game as a playable character, but I guess he's kind of taking a little bit of a back seat. Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4 coming soon. This is a game that is being co-developed by Koei Tecmo and Platinum Games, and I believe Microsoft is directly publishing it. So a really interesting collaboration between those three companies. And let's dive into the issue and see what else is going on in here. When I open to the table of contents here, they've got 5 stories in particular that are highlighted. Obviously, this is a meaty magazine. There's a lot more than 5 stories to read in here. But the 5 big ones are, of course, the cover story on Ninja Gaiden 4. There's a conversation with prolific voice actor Matthew Mercer. There is another story about how one of the writers flew to China to play the highly anticipated action game Phantom Blade Zero. And another story about Ad Hoc Studios, who was formed by a bunch of former Telltale game staff, the people behind Back to Future the game, Jurassic Park the game, and their new game, Dispatch. And then finally, there's another story about Roberta Williams, creator of many classic PC games such as King's Quest. And I guess they do like an extensive interview with her and just talk more with her. She was honored at the Game Awards a long time ago. Gosh, I can't remember. I can't remember if that was the Vegas year or that was maybe the first year in LA. But Neil Druckmann, the creator of The Last of Us, he was the one who presented them with the Lifetime Achievement Award, her and her husband, for their work at Sierra Games. Anyways, looking forward to diving into Game Informer magazine. Remember, you can support the magazine yourself now with an individual subscription. Just go to GameInformer.com, hit that subscribe button, help those guys out. It's literally the last traditional modern gaming magazine still in circulation here in the United States. And, I'm just doing my part. Free ad for them. Let's keep it going. Thank you. So what's coming up? What's going on? Tomorrow, or maybe the same day you're hearing this, or around the time you're hearing this, Sony will be hosting one of their State of Play presentations. So that's airing on September 24th, and it will run for 35 minutes. I'll cover it to some extent next weekend, or not next weekend, in next week's episode. If there's anything real noteworthy or significant to talk about, I'll be sure to mention it here for you all to hear about. And then this weekend, I'm going to the Pokemon Mega Evolution Los Angeles event at the Magic Box. And so I will report back on what that 30-minute experience is like. Anyways, this week I've got 3 stories for you. I know it's been a while since I've had 3 stories, but let's dive into this first one here. In 2006, Carlo Acutis, an Italian gamer, died of leukemia at age 15. Now that's sad, but his story didn't end there. Carlo was not only an avid gamer, but also an avid and devoted Catholic. He wielded technology such as websites he created to help spread Catholicism far and wide. He loved games such as Halo so much, but made sure to play for only an hour a day to make sure he wasn't too distracted from his religious activities and helping the poor. After his death at the age of 15, his parents erected a tomb for his body, which is encased in wax, by the way, to rest in. And his mother would pray to him to help heal various people around the world, including 2 young people with serious medical issues who both miraculously recovered. These 2 miracles made Carlo eligible for sainthood. His parents have been campaigning for his sainthood ever since his death, and they have seemingly been able to fast-track the process. Some would-be saints have been waiting hundreds of years to be canonized, but somehow Carlo skipped most of the line. I wonder how. On September 7th, 2025, the all-American Pope, Leo XIV, canonized Carlo Acutis as a saint, the first saint to have lived in the 21st century, the first saint to be a millennial, and truly, he is the first gamer saint. Now, I hope you enjoyed that heartwarming story, because we're going to get on to some more depressing things. So, Microsoft announced via their support website that prices of Xbox consoles will again be increasing in the United States. Here's their statement on the matter. Beginning on October 3rd, we will update the recommended retailer pricing for Series S and Series X consoles in the United States due to changes in the macroeconomic environment. Wonder what that is. We understand that these changes are challenging, and they were made with careful consideration. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screen and providing value for Xbox players. They're doing all of this to provide value to Xbox players. Remember that. Don't forget it. Keep in mind that the Xbox Series consoles are all manufactured in China, so it's not too hard to figure out why those prices are increasing. So just how significant are these price increases? Let's look at each console and compare it to its previous price increase from just a few months ago. So the Xbox Series S 512GB console is now $399.99, up from $379.99. The Series S 1TB is now $449.99, up from $429.99. The Xbox Series X Digital, $599 up from $549. And the Xbox Series X, $649.99, up from $599.99. And finally, the Xbox Series X 2TB Special Galaxy Edition model, $799, up from $729.99, making it the most expensive game console in the United States. These numbers are insane. The Xbox Series X now costs $150 more than when it launched in 2020. It's now $649. It was $500 back then. The 2TB Series X now costs $50 more than the PlayStation 5 Pro. $50 more for an inferior machine, a machine that is worse than the PlayStation 5 Pro. It doesn't make any sense. Microsoft has a huge problem with Xbox consoles. Sales have been abysmal for months, some might say even years. Who in their right mind is going to pay that much more for a brand new console that is already flatlining? If these tariffs stay in place, Xbox might be forced out of the hardware game altogether. Microsoft is not going to open up Xbox factories in the US. Nobody is. It's just not going to happen. They would rather stop making hardware altogether and become solely a publisher rather than invest in moving production elsewhere. As much as I'm not really an Xbox fanboy, I don't think that's a good thing. We need Xbox around so Sony doesn't get even more complacent and more arrogant than they already are. Core gamers are getting older and beginning to die off. Next-gen game consoles could cost closer to $1,000. Studios are shuttering left and right. The indie market is flooded with too many good games, but not enough buyers. The game industry is in a dire place right now, and it feels like it could come crashing down at any moment. And now we're going to shift gears over to Nintendo of America, who has long employed US-based contract workers to handle their customer service needs. As someone who has had to reach out to Nintendo's customer support here and there over the years, I can confirm that they have always been excellent. Too often as consumers, we call a customer support line to get help with something and the experience is dreadful. That has never been the case for me with Nintendo. I've always spoken to someone who is easy to comprehend and can understand my issue on a personal level. These contract employees would be employed at Nintendo for about 10 months before being let go for 2 months, and then rehired for another 10-month period, allowing Nintendo of America to skirt labor laws requiring them to give employees benefits, which is pretty scummy, let's be honest. But Nintendo would then rehire these contract employees at a higher rate even than they were previously employed for. The majority of these workers at Nintendo's customer service have stayed with the company for many years and become highly knowledgeable about the inner workings of Nintendo of America's customer service systems and procedures, hence why they were all so great at their job. Now, according to a report from IGN, this will all be changing very soon. Around 200 of these workers are being laid off this month as Nintendo transitions its customer service to South America, primarily Brazil, where Nintendo of America can pay workers about $1 an hour to provide customer support help. These customer support reps at Nintendo of America's headquarters through the end of this month are having the pleasure of taking on the extra task of training their own replacements. IGN reports that these new customer service reps in other countries have already started fielding calls for some in the US. Because of difficulties with these reps being less proficient in English than their US counterparts, they've been subject to violent verbal outbursts from US-based customers. This is a lose-lose situation for us here in the United States and for the people in the other countries having to do this customer service job. IGN actually obtained a comment from Nintendo about these developments, and here's what they said. While we have nothing to announce about our internal business activities, the claims shared with IGN include inaccurate information. At Nintendo of America, we are extremely thankful to have partnered with several companies and their talented contractors over the years to deliver high-quality customer service experiences. We continue to evolve and expand our customer service model with external partners that have deep experience in all the markets we serve across the Americas. This approach allows us to support the full scope of customer service mission in both North America and our growing Latin American markets, and better scale to seasonal needs for consistent support. As always, our top priority is to provide excellent customer support, and we are pleased that customer satisfaction with the service provided by all of our partners remains positive. Notice they don't say it's false. The reporting just contains some inaccuracies. Nintendo Switch 2 is heading into its first holiday season, and customer support quality will be at an all-time low at the cost of people's livelihoods, just so Nintendo can keep a few more bucks in its pocket. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, just because Nintendo exudes that family fun for everyone vibe doesn't make them any different from any other company. They make a product, they sell it, we buy it, and that's the end of the relationship. Unless you have more money to give, they have nothing else for you. End transmission.